Okay, I'm gonna pick three submarkets that from being an out of state or a Texan. Let me just start by saying I love Miami. I've been there probably once or twice a year for the last 4 years, and I love it every single time I go. Um, I'm gonna pick three, and if you want to talk about more, we can. Tell me your view of them. Let's start with Brickell. What's going on there is like an act of God. There's just tower after tower and land sites that are selling for hundreds of millions. When I say Brickell, what do you think about?
I think that there is no better place to live in Florida than Brickell. It is the cleaner version of New York. And I don't mean that by office square feet, obviously. But what I mean is that there's somewhere to work, there's somewhere where you can live, there's places to go eat and walk around and have a good time late at night, all within a pretty short, within a pretty small neighborhood. Um, so there's probably, I think, no better living than in Brickell. Um, as you mentioned, there are some big developments going on. The biggest one is probably Stephen Ross at related companies and Swire looking to lease and break ground on One Brickell City Center. Um, you know, what we're seeing is a lot of office activity, and right now, office leasing brokers are working to the bone to try to convince these big Fortune 100 companies to make long-term decisions in a tough macroeconomic environment. So I'm not an office leasing broker. I know those conversations are happening. I know they're not easy, just as any long-term decision in this environment's not easy. um, but yeah, I'm a big bull in Brickell. I think something to mention is it's so expensive to buy land and to build in Brickell today that all the new deliveries, are asking $2,000 a square foot plus, right? The ones that have gotten financed recently were probably asking $1,300 to $1,500 a square foot plus. I bought my condo for $400 a square feet, and now it's probably worth $800 a square feet. So I think on a relative basis, it's going to end up being like the hub of finance in Florida. And things are so expensive that you're not going to see the amount of supply that you're seeing in markets like downtown Miami, Wynwood, and some other pockets.
You posted a site the other day on Twitter. It was 4.5 acre site, Aimco for 650 million. Is that in Brickell?
That is in Brickell. It's across. So if you go to our kitchen in Bercadia's office, it's overlooking those two buildings, and then to the right of our view is Ken Griffin's $363 million acquisition. So it's an interesting location to be officed out of, and I live a block away from those two pockets. Yeah.
Okay, but it's not just a site. There's two towers on that site. So the buyer of that site will probably tear those towers down and take it back down to the dirt, or will they keep those towers in play and build around them?
If I had, definitely it's a redevelopment play, right? It's I don't want to talk about information that I can't share, but I do know that the buyer is seeing this as a long-term land value play. And how I would envision it would work is, hey, the apartment building, that's half of the site, and the office tower, which is the other half of the site, cash flows very well. They're both fully occupied. I think the office building's in the 90s and the apartment complex is like 97, 98% occupied. So my thought is someone's going to buy them, have the carrying costs paid for, and then in the future be able to, do condo sales or raise a lot of money and equity to do a long-term redevelopment play. I think to Aimco's credit, there was a gentleman there that I'm friendly with, that when they were buying those buildings, the apartment building they bought, I think, over 10 years ago, and the office building they bought in 2018, if I'm not mistaken. They were saying, hey, this is a 20-year covered land play, whether for us or for someone else. And I'm like, wow, that is very smart. And then what ended up happening is the office that they bought in 2018, I think, just became so lucrative because of the post-COVID trends in Miami that it made sense to renovate it and keep it as an office for now. But it doesn't hurt them to go and try to find a Ken Griffin or another Ken Griffin-esque buyer to buy very unique real estate in Miami.
That's just his office site. Isn't he also building like $1 billion house in Miami or something like that?
In Palm Beach, yeah, on Ocean Boulevard. He's building $1 billion residence. Yeah. And then Jeff Bezos has bought, 3 houses in the last like 2 years. And just like last week or 2 weeks ago, he bought a third $90 million residences in Billionaire's Bunker in Indian Creek, next to, Carl Icahn and Tom Brady and, some other very wealthy individuals.
All right. I want